My friends, I love helping you guys change your lives, and I believe the best way to do that is to approach things from a perspective of knowledge, because I want to make sure you're changing your lives for the better. And so many people leave me comments or write me letters about moving to the Philippines, and I have one video in particular called Why You Should Not Move to the Philippines, and this is a very popular video, and basically it's a response to all the naive emails and comments I get where people have these very romanticized, idealistic things of what they think the Philippines is, but they don't really know because they haven't done it. In fact, many of these guys have never even been to the Philippines. But even if you've been to the Philippines, I can tell you now from experience, living in the Philippines long term is radically different in terms of compared to when you take a vacation, even if it's a long vacation. In 2006, I was in the Philippines for 9 months, and at the end of the 9 months, I didn't want to leave. I had the time of my life, but I wanted to go back to LA and work on my career. But now I can honestly say, after being here over 2 years now straight, that there's a lot of things that I didn't understand staying here, even for 9 months long, that I now have a much better understanding of being a long-term person that lives in the Philippines. And one example I would give you guys is that there's a lot of things that if you come, maybe you don't even notice, or you don't really bother. They don't bother you because you're kind of more in vacation mode. But after you've been here about a year, there's a lot of things that weren't an issue for you before, but now all of a sudden they're becoming major problems for you. But on my video, Why You Should Not Move to the Philippines, as I said, it's a response to all the naive guys that write me, and they have this very idealistic view of what the Philippines is. A guy left a comment, and he's from Canada. I've been getting a lot of comments from Canadians lately that are kind of bitter and talking about how bad Canada is. I've only been to Windsor, Ontario, so I don't know what Canada's like, but if I was to judge it based on all the comments I get from Canada, I'd think it must be a terrible place. But this is a guy that he comes off as one of those very naive guys, and I'll read to you what he said. Here's his comment, his original comment. I'd live in the Philippines to get away from this materialistic society. I also want a nice, warm climate. The women are absolutely gorgeous. I just want a simple life. I don't need an extravagant lifestyle. Well, I'm not going to tell you these things as a response because I want to burst your bubble. I'm telling you these things because I want to help you to do whatever it is you want to do in life, but I want you to make sure what you're doing is actually what you really want to do. And your first point about, I'd live in the Philippines to get away from this materialistic society. Well, guess what? Filipinos are as materialistic as anyone else in the world, and it varies from person to person. Whether you're in the United States, some people are going to be more materialistic than others. In the Philippines, it's the same way. And you think people aren't materialistic here? Haven't you ever heard of a Kanyo or someone that's Maarte? And think about this. They have Ferrari dealerships, Lamborghini dealerships. You see people driving Range Rovers and Maseratis. And in terms of thinking about, oh, this guy's materialistic, for me personally, I don't really concern myself too much with what other people are thinking. I just focus on myself, and I don't let it affect me. I don't worry about what they're doing. People have the freedom to be into whatever they're into and to think about whatever they want and want whatever they want out of life. So to me, it doesn't even concern me. His second point, I also want a nice, warm climate. Well, the climate here I wouldn't describe as nice and warm. I would actually describe it as very hot, humid, and most of the time uncomfortable, even at night. And he says, the women are absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to argue with that, although I will say that I've been a lot of places, and there's good-looking women in places, there's ugly women, but it varies a lot here, just as anywhere else. Of course, there's beautiful women here, but I'm sure there's plenty of beautiful women in Canada. And he says, I just want a simple life. I don't need an extravagant lifestyle. Now, this is something I hear from people a lot, and that's a very nice idea to have. However, make sure that what you really want is a simple life, because I'll tell you this, that can get boring quick. And I see a lot of guys that come to the Philippines as foreigners, and you'll walk around, especially in small towns, and you'll see these guys getting drunk at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. It's just because they're so bored and they're passing time away. Plus, you talk about beautiful women. Well, guess what? Beautiful women don't necessarily want a guy that's looking for a simple life. They want to be with guys that are active, guys that are accomplishing things, guys that are living exciting lives, doing stuff. And me personally, I want to be where the action is. I want to be around high energy, creative people. And I'm at my happiest when I'm working and doing something productive. The opposite of what I want is a simple life. I want a lifestyle full of action and excitement and interesting experiences. Even think about Arnold Schwarzenegger. He could have had a simple life if he stayed in Austria his whole life, but he had certain things he wanted to accomplish, experiences he wanted to have, so he had to move and go to where the action is and make things happen. Now, the other thing about that perspective, and I could do a whole separate video on that way of thinking, I understand where it's coming from. To me, most guys that say stuff like that are guys that feel kind of beat down in life. They're not happy with the job they're working, and they just kind of have this idea, this fantasy. He's never actually been to the Philippines, so he has this very romanticized view, and it's really an escape mechanism. And I think somehow the good is it helps them cope and deal with their day-to-day lives. But in reality, I see so many guys, it's like they're waiting to be happy. They just want this fantasy of hope where, oh, I'll be happy when I can move to the Philippines, instead of making the decision to be happy right then and there. And the thing is, these things that he mentions, most of these are things I'm sure he could get in Canada. The materialistic, that's going to vary. Warm climate, hey man, the best climate in the world, I think, is in SoCal, brah. And the gorgeous women, got those everywhere. And like I said, I think they really want successful, very active, high-energy dudes. And a simple life. Look, you could move to a small town in Canada, I'm sure, and live a simple life. You can move to a small town in rural America and live a simple life. But I really want you guys, when you come over, to be physically healthy, financially healthy, and mentally healthy. And I don't say this to kill your vibe or destroy your fantasy or burst your bubble. I just feel that in the long run, being realistic is what's going to help you to achieve your goals and be happy and really make sure what you want. Because all these things he mentioned, he could have this in North America. So my friends, hopefully you take these words into consideration, especially if you're someone that's in this line of thinking. And if you're happy where you are when you come to the Philippines, and I hope you come for a visit. I'm not necessarily saying that you should move here, because that's definitely not for everyone. But I think that you can really benefit from a visit. But when you come over, I want you to be in a healthy state of mind, and I think that's what's really going to help you out, and it's definitely going to help out the people around you. They don't want someone coming from a country that has a chip on their shoulder, and then they come to the Philippines and they walk around with that type of attitude and putting out that type of vibe. So my friends, I hope you're doing good things in your life, wherever you are in the world, and until next time.